it comes to whitetail destinations, Quebec looms large for hunters in search of a wilderness adventure. It is the largest Canadian province by area, occupying a territory 3 times the size of Texas. Its wildlife is abundant and its population relatively sparse, making it a mecca for outdoor enthusiasts. The hands-down dream destination for whitetails is, believe it or not, an island. Located in the Gulf of the St. Lawrence River, Anticosti Island is just over 3,000 square miles of wilderness with 320 miles of coastline. In the late 1890s, French chocolatier Henri Meunier bought the island and introduced 52 species of wildlife to create his own private game preserve. While most of them died out over time, the whitetails thrived and now number over 160,000. They will, in fact, soon be given status as their own subspecies of deer, since they have been autonomous for over a century. This Whitetail Wonderland attracts hunters from all over Europe and North America, including a few from the Destination Whitetail crew.
Well, this is my second trip to Anticosti Island. I was here about 8 years ago when I worked for North American Hunter, and I discovered what a wonderful place this is. This time I'm in front of the camera instead of behind it, and it's really exciting being able to come to such an amazing destination.
But this is no slam dunk. The island can prove to be a formidable place depending on what region you hunt and when you visit. You see, Anticosti has many moods, and one would be wise to do some research before booking travel.
This is September, so we are in a pretty early stage. It's been very warm, and frankly, this time of year is usually more of a struggle.
You'll fly into the only airport on the island, just outside the only settlement, which is Port Meunier. This quaint seaside town serves as the hub for outdoor tourism and logging activities. One thing you should remember is that the deer are protected within the village and are pretty much considered permanent residents here.
We're already on our first buck here in Anticosti. Unfortunately, this buck is in town. We're in Port Meunier still, and you can't hunt these deer. In fact, many people feed them. They are almost like mascots, so it's understood that beautiful deer like this are usually in Port Meunier. Now, hopefully, we're going to see some when we head into the woods. But for now, it's kind of nice just to admire a beautiful buck like this.
Many a hunter has been inspired by these in-town pet whitetails before heading off to hunting camp. Most of these camps are outfitted by CPAC, which manages the largest network of outdoor accommodations in Canada. From guided hunts out of high-end lodges to rustic cabin outposts, Anticosti promises to fulfill all manner of whitetail hunting adventures.
In September, the hunter has to be more patient because it's more warm. The deer doesn't move a lot during the day. Often they move on the last hour and on the first hour of the day and during the night.
A move in the wood at the end of September, like we see this week. You know, you go end of September to the middle of October. You stay in the wood, you eat something there, don't move a lot, you know.
You have to walk more and work more to find them.
As always, my adventure started with sighting in my rifle. They put us up in a beautiful lodge with all the amenities, and the next morning we were off.
Well, opening morning here at Anticosti. Can't wait to get out there and see how we do with these whitetails. We got rain today, which could complicate things a little bit. So we're gonna go sit in a box blind not far from the beach. And our guide Tristan is gonna prep our spot for later in the day, which is what he promises to be a hot spot by a river where he's seen a very nice buck. So we're just gonna get our hunting legs under us here this morning and we'll sit in a box blind by the ocean. How many days do you get to do that?
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by Decked. Work smarter, play harder. Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry Plus technology. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. By 10-Point Crossbow Technologies, there is no substitute. Get armed and deadly with Easton FMJ arrows. By Sig Sauer Electro Optics, never settle. And by Matthews Archery. Today we're exploring what has often been called a Whitetail Wonderland, Anticosti Island, just off the coast of Quebec. One very unique feature here is the fact that it offers the only beach hunting for whitetails in the world.
It's our first morning here in Anticosti, and I can't wipe the smile off my face. We're sitting in a box blind here with the sea to our back. We're watching this tree line here, and I'm glad we're in a box blind because we're starting to get some rain. Looks like it'll rain most of the day. But boy, what a vast area. Anticosti is pretty much known as a whitetail wonderland, if you will. But it's hardly a slam dunk, especially right now. We're looking at unusually warm temps. So the deer aren't moving. We're here at late September, so really we might struggle. But you know what, I don't care. This is an amazing place to be. We're looking out over some backwater flats here, and if something comes out 300, 400, 500 yards down, we might just sneak along the beach and go into spot and stalk mode. So hey, I'm so excited to be here, and I can't wait to see what comes along.
Why hunt the beach, you ask? Come winter, the deer use the kelp as a source for food and minerals once the snow has buried their normal forage. This causes the deer to actually migrate, which is a very rare phenomenon for whitetails.
They are moving from the middle of the island. They go to the south. They are moving, and those never see human body. So you sit there and you see them moving. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, not this one, not this one, not this one. You make a lot of pictures, and it's amazing to see that. I think it's the only place in the world that this migration of deer is happening.
As you might guess, September is not the best migration period, and the steady rain did not help matters. So we made our way to our second location.
The rain has let up, and we're going to our second spot. We got changed into some new clothes because we got a little wet on our way back to camp. We're going to head up into a ground blind beside this river. They say deer are crossing in this spot, and particularly a really nice buck, so we're going to go see if we can find him. Well, the rain is picking up here in our second spot on day one. This is a makeshift blind, obviously, and we have a canvas over our head, but the rain is increasing, and if nothing else, we've got a really pretty spot to sit, and hopefully we're going to get some action. That pretty little red fox is kind of fun to watch. That's the one other thing that this island has plenty of is foxes. They planted foxes as well as whitetails, and so they don't really have predators, and they aren't hunted or trapped here as far as I know, so it's just kind of fun to see something that pretty out here. Well, it's coming down even harder out here now, and despite all that, we're still relatively dry, and that's a great feeling. My friend Mark Kaiser taught me to always tough out the elements, especially when it gets like this, and maybe your chances aren't so great, but you know, there's a certain satisfaction in knowing you can tough this out and beat the elements, because after all, for a lot of us, we don't have that many days in a year we get to do this. And so I'm happy to still be living this dream, even when it starts to look a little like a nightmare. We didn't see anything that whole first day, but it did not dampen my spirits even a little bit, because we had a lot of time ahead of us.
With the push of a button, the new Oracle range-finding bow sight from Burris instantly calculates the exact distance and angle to your target and provides an aiming dot to take the guesswork out of making that shot of a lifetime.
For those of us who hunt whitetails with a rifle, September can seem like it's still a long wait before deer season rolls around. But there is a place you can go if you have an itchy trigger finger and a bit of wanderlust. Anticosti Island offers hunting packages from early September through December.
In September, it's not in the rut, and that's why you have to find where the deer are. And you have to walk a little bit more than November. It's different. Since 2017, we organize different package. For September and October, now we hunt 6 full days. 7 nights on the island, we hunt 6 full days.
Well, day 2 is upon us here at Anticosti Island. Day 1 was a little bit of a bust, I'm not gonna lie. We had rain most of the day, and you know, things just really weren't moving, but hey, we stuck it out, and the forecast is for this stuff to break up. Temps are going to be a little warmer, and that could present a little bit more of a problem for the deer movement, but I guess our hope is that with the stopping of the rain, these animals are going to need to get up and find some food, so we'll give it a shot. Well, we're back. The same blind, and it's a very interesting riverbed we're sitting on here. Basically, this little creek bed we have in front of us is where they've seen a lot of deer crossing, so it's kind of where I'm focused, but obviously we're watching on both sides, and fingers crossed. Once again, we didn't see anything, but it was very nice being able to sit without getting wet, and that was a help. From there, they took us to a spot that I felt held great promise. Why? Because it's named the Nelson Swamp. For obvious reasons, I felt like I was an ace in the hole here. So this spot intrigued me, and sure enough, about a half an hour before shooting light was over, a spike buck stepped out at about 60 yards, and I was in a perfect position. It felt good to know I could have shot this deer all day long. He wandered off, and since he was just a bachelor roaming, there was no deer with him, and he moved on. And we ended the day on an up note, feeling very good about our chances moving into day 3. Tristan tells me that he's going to take us even further out to a spot where he's got a lot of good signs for some bigger bucks. And after passing on that spike yesterday, I'm going to welcome that. So, wish us luck. Well, Tristan's really outdone himself this time. We're perched up on the side of a steep incline here. We're overlooking a small riverbed. There's a heavy deer trail out here in the grass. About 50, 60 yards shooting, should be mint. He has taken us way into the big woods here. And in my experience, that's where the bucks play. You gotta come out and get them. And after the trip we've taken out here, I really believe we are in them. Well, the rain and the cold are continuing here in Anticosti. This is one of those days that really tests your mettle and causes outdoor producers to question their line of work, to be sure. But I think the rewards are also the greatest from having the fortitude to stick it out. Rain sucks, but it's not gonna stop me. I think this is the spot. We're gonna wait him out. We sat for several more hours. We really didn't see anything. We decided we needed to pull out because we were simply so waterlogged. We felt we needed to get out of there and make plans for the next day. This is my friend Pita. It's basically the bones of a whale that are located here on our lodge site. I feel a little like Pita this morning. Yesterday knocked us down pretty good, a day full of rain. And I started out so hopeful, I was certain I was going to get something. And it's that point in the hunt where you have to pick yourself off the mat like a prize fighter and say, I'm going to go back out there, I'm going to get it done. And I still have every belief we're going to do that. I sure don't want to wind up like Pita here.
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by Browning Trail Cameras, by Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker, by Analogics, protect your herd with the power of science, by SEVR Broadheads, straight through it, Alps Outdoors, exceed your expectations, and by Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable.
Well, we're back here at the Nelson Swamp. Must be a good sign. It's the only place we've seen a deer, and I still got a good feeling about hunting in the Nelson Swamp. Today's my anniversary, so I give a shout out to my wife. The first time in 29 years we haven't been together on this day, and as heartsick as that makes me, I'm a very lucky man that she wanted me to be here instead of with her, so I'm hopeful that's a good sign that today's the day, and we're gonna see what comes along. It was beautiful weather, but we didn't see anything, so they moved us back to the sniper's perch. We are back at my favorite post here so far at Anticosti. And look, we have blue skies. This is a welcome change from yesterday. And we're gonna sit here till dark, and I'm hopeful that this could be the one, so stick around. I felt very confident, and we sat like statues, and I was certain that this was going to be the one. This was going to be our moment. Darkness came and nothing else. This is the second hunt I've done on camera. The first time I didn't even see a freaking squirrel. I was starting to think maybe it's me.
Now we are in for me, the worst period, because they stay inside the wood and they are eating on the spot. They don't move a lot. You can see 4 to 6, but normally here on the island, you're supposed to see between 25 to 35 deer in a day. That's the normal hunting. But at this time of the year, you know, for this week, I saw 4 deer. Even though I know there's a lot of deer on this island, I knew this was not a drop kick. This was not going to be an easy hunt. Well, the next day, our guide Tristan decided that we'd probably sat long enough and that we were getting a little bit frustrated not seeing anything. So he took us on a spot and stalk. We crept along, we did a true spot and stalk through there, and sure enough, before we know it, there's a doe staring at us. She bounded off and we could hear the movement of several more in the woods. And then we heard some on the other side of the road as well. So we sat down, I got the bipod out. Well, as it turns out, there was a doe and 2 fawns on that side of the road. And Abby, my producer, was able to get some footage of her, but it was thick. And kind of reminded me of elk hunting. All you could see was this animal moving among the trunks. About that time, she blew. And if you're a deer hunter, you know that when a deer blows, you're pretty much done. She was busting us. She was not comfortable with us there and turned tail and bounded off into the woods. It was fun being in them. Sometimes that helps, but it was just a great, fun little encounter. You know it's not a high percentage game, but
it's great fun nonetheless.
We continued hunting, but never caught sight of another deer. As disappointing as this was, I still believe Anticosti Island to be a whitetail wonderland. And believe me, you will be spoiled by the hospitality. They feature French chefs who will wow you at every course, and accommodations that are second to none. It is truly a destination unlike any other, no matter your level of success or when you visit. This is Destination Whitetail.